Dis After Dark Podcast is sponsored by Unofficial.com, the home of Halloween Horror Nights news and rumors all year round. Find us on the web at www.hhnunofficial.com. So stop the fog machines and clear the cobwebs. It's time for another episode of the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Wendy Presser at Magical Journeys Travel is proud to be a sponsor of the After Dark Podcast Network. Whether you've been to Disney 1 or 100 times, there's still lots of planning involved. Let Wendy be the one at midnight when your window opens to get that VR guest reservation or that coveted Anna and Elsa fastpass for your own princess. Mention that you heard this ad on one of our podcasts and get $25 off your deposit with any trip package. Be sure to ask about her generous onboard credits for Disney Cruise Lines as well. Find her on Twitter at WPMagicJourneys or WPMagicJourneys.com.
Warning. This show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature, mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Dis After Dark. I am Nick, and on this week's show I am joined by the Scouse Wonder Boy known as Mr. Craig Lucas.
Hello.
And Watford's very favourite son, Mr. Paul Washington.
Hello.
Why are you Watford's favourite son?
God knows.
Okay.
There's no one else. Well, other than Elton John.
Oh no, John. I'll tell you
No
what.
one else quite as famous as After Dark presenters.
That's true. Hi, WDW Kingdom cast, you bastards. You're quite lucky actually tonight that I'm recording this because before we started recording, I found out Little Nicky was on TV.
Little Hooey?
Little Nicky. And Little Nicky is one of those films that if it's on TV, I will normally stay and watch the rest of it, even though it's not a particularly good film.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Little Nicky? P-dubs, come on.
Sandler.
Who?
Sandler.
I don't know what you're going on about.
Adam Sandler?
No, never heard of it.
You never heard of Adam Sandler?
Oh, is Little Nicky the devil one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember it, yeah.
Popeye's chicken's the shizness. And it is actually as well. Next person to go to Florida should go and have some Popeye's chicken. I'm guessing it's you, Craig.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
60-some of them days.
Oh, lovely stuff.
We paid the last of the wedge off last week to Kenwood Travel. Aye, Ali. Send an email to Ali at Kenwood Travel. Aye. I'm drinking whiskey, by the way.
We haven't got to that point yet, but yes, you
All
can
right,
drink.
okay.
No, it's fine. I'm ill. That's why.
Are you drinking a lady's drink?
I am drinking a proper lady's drink, yes. I'm drinking a soft drink. So, Craig, what whiskey are you drinking?
Old Putney. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. I emailed them 2 weeks ago about sponsoring this fine fettle of a show. And I'm still waiting to hear from the bitches.
Seems to be a common issue of ourselves at the moment.
That's good.
Now, I can already kind of guess what's going to happen when I ask this question to Paul Dubs himself.
Yeah.
You're training, so it's going to be a softie.
Yeah. It is. It's back on the orange juice again.
Oh, dear me.
This
should be called Ladies' Knickers After Dark.
It's a classic drink. There's nothing really you can say other than that.
I might partake in a few drinks next week, as I will be at Disneyland Paris.
Oh,
you're going to have a rotini.
I might do.
What day do you go? I keep forgetting. I'll do it
Monday.
tomorrow. Oh, God. Okay, I'll definitely do it tomorrow.
First class, you'll get there. Sure.
Yeah, defogs.
Disney confession time, I've never had a glotini.
Neither have I. This is what we need to do when we all go to Disneyland Paris. Do all the girly things. For Dis After Dark.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a good plan.
Go and meet the princesses.
Go and buy sanitary towels.
Why don't we do that next year?
Buy sanitary towels?
Well, we can do that tomorrow. No, I was thinking, like, surely... I mean, Paul's got his annual pass, so he's sorted out. Why don't we just go and buy day passes, jump on the Eurostar, just make a big day of it?
Paul's got his anal pass.
But
That's for you, Craig.
Oh, hello, Shayla.
Anyway, let's crack on as we do with every episode of this podcast. And I'm sorry, I'm ill, so...
or press on, as Claire Rayner used to say.
No one remembers Claire Rayner.
Everyone remembers Claire Rayner.
No one remembers Claire Rayner.
She was a pin-up in the 80s.
She was definitely not... Don't Google Claire Rayner. She was not a pin-up in any time.
Oh, my lovies. Oh, press on.
Was she actually a lesbian?
I don't know.
She was the first person, when I understood what that was, that I think she was a lesbian. But I never found out she was.
Do you remember Barbara Woodhouse?
No.
Sit!
I am.
Only the 40-somethings in the room will get that.
So,
sit!
No one then.
Sit! If Amanda was here, she'd get it.
I bet she wouldn't.
Oh, I wonder where little Amanda is today.
She's going on holiday. Again.
I'll tell you what. The life of friggin' Riley, that girl.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you get kids.
She has more bleeding holidays than the
This
Pope.
is why.
He's always parasailing.
But this is exactly why. I mentioned there about maybe we should go to Disneyland Paris for the day, and we have to plan it like a year in advance because we can't just decide to go on holiday. Just drop everything on holiday.
I think if we can pick a date next year, in the middle of the week, is that the best day to go?
Yeah.
Like a Wednesday?
Yeah. Oh no.
Tuesday?
Wednesday, yeah. Wednesdays are generally quite bad because, shouldn't be too bad, but Wednesday, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Wednesday like Saturday in France?
Yeah, I think they
have like a half day or something.
Yeah.
So they go to school Monday, Tuesday, maybe some on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, half a Saturday. I'm pretty sure that's a school routine, yeah.
It's like our butchers. He shuts every Wednesday dinner time.
Because he's French.
Boulangerie.
Now, speaking of French, that's a tedious link because that doesn't actually make any sense. We got a message today in our podcast network army group.
Did we?
From Steve Milson Payne.
Oh, love him.
Now, I'm not too sure where we go with this because we talked about the fact that you contacted Old Putney Whiskey to be a sponsor, and we've contacted other breweries, but there is an advertising campaign at the moment for a cider called Blind Pig, and the poster, which is up all around the country, says cider is strictly for after dark.
Oh, one of my old girlfriends used to love putting things inside her.
So I'll just kind of drift over that one. So I think we need to find out who does the Blind Pig. It looks like it's the poster's Asda, but I'm not sure if it's an Asda brand or not. But that's fine because we like Walmart, so I'm happy to go to Asda. But otherwise, I think we've asked Blind Pig to sponsor us, and we start drinking their cider. Or we sue them for copyright infringement.
Yeah, I think we'll do. Paul's our legal guru. We'll get him on the case.
What, Paul B?
No, Paul in here now.
Oh, I was going to say, because if it's Paul B, I don't want him, assassinating anyone.
You could just pop a cap in their ass.
That's what I mean.
From the toilet.
He's still in there, I think.
He skydived back into it.
He's doing my head in. But he's not snorkeling, he's falling out the sky.
Well, he had a fun time. He's been on holiday and he was sharing with us some footage from his trip to Dubai. And the theme parks that he visited there, didn't he? And they did look quite weird.
Oh, it's bizarre. The man's a legend.
Yeah, because they're all indoors.
When does he sleep?
When the parks close, I imagine.
He's a crazy son of a gun.
He is. But what's interesting is the fact that there's, he went on a Shrek attraction. There was a few DreamWorks on, wasn't there? Wasn't there a How to Train a Dragon attraction? There was a Ghostbusters Men in Black style rip-off there as well. And he saw a poster for a Marvel park that's coming. Is it next year, he said? Open next year?
So.
And we was talking about it in our little group because he was confused as to how they're doing it without Disney's permission. But I believe it's because it was a deal signed before the Marvel buyout in 2006, was it, or 2005?
Yeah. Most of those parks out there have been planned for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Well, my favourite thing, and I still haven't found a picture for it, but I have seen it, is the Universal Studios gate.
Yep.
That's out there.
Yep, the arch is there.
Yeah. So
in the middle
bizarre.
of the desert.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. And that park would have been awesome, I think. The rides they had the drawings for looked amazing. I don't think there was anything from the American parks going over there at all. It was all going to be brand new. Although saying that, I think the Battlestar Galactica ride was going to be King Kong themed at Dubai. I think that was the same attraction. But otherwise, nearly everything else was going to be new IPs, or new versions of. So, Dubai, that's a weird place. Anyway, Craig, you said that there was something you wanted to keep the show up with.
It's only a dead small bit of news. I've got two. I'm just trying to find the other one. I shared it yesterday. But there's a new app in the App Store.
How about this?
It's WDW Today. It's free to download. And it appears to be just basically the channel that's in the hotel rooms, I think. And it's just park hours.
So is that what it's called? Is that the name of the channel inside the hotel rooms?
I think so. I'm not sure.
What their Twitter account's called, isn't it?
Yeah, their Twitter account's called WDW Today.
I thought that was a hit podcast.
It used to be. But, so it's basically, it's scrolling through now, and it gives you all the times for the day. So Epcot Illuminations 9pm, Disney Hollywood Studios, park hours, and then it'll show you the times of Fantasmic and whatnot, Star Wars. And that's all it does. You can't interact with it in any way. It just plays cool Disney music.
Just plays really crappy versions of Disney songs.
Yeah, I could just leave this on for the rest of the show.
No, you're right.
Sure. But it's free. It's in the App Store on Apple anyway. I can't vouch for Android because the shit.
It is on Android as well.
Okay.
I don't have it, but I tried to download it yesterday, and I haven't updated to my iOS, so I've not been able to download it as yet.
Why?
I just because I don't like updating my software until I've backed up my phone.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So I just haven't backed up my phone recently. So once I do, I was going to download it. I might not bother now if that's all it's going to be. I'll be honest, that sounds quite disappointing.
Do you want me to save me other bit of news, or do you want me to just get it out the way?
It's up to you, buddy.
Okay, bottomless mimosas now available at the Wave in Walt Disney World in the Contemporary.
Speaking of drinks I've never had in a Disney park.
For just $16, you can partake in all you care to drink mimosas. This is a perfect way to kick off a relaxing day at the pool, or shopping at Disney Springs, crawling round on your hands and knees, bladdered, throwing up at everyone. So there you go, yeah. So just fill your boots on mimosas, which is Prosecco and orange juice, innit?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You'd have to drink a lot of that to get pissed, I think. But it's a nice little way to kick off a day. I mean, we're in the Contemporary this year for Chef Mickey's and then the Pirates and Pals firework party. So we might go and have a few sherbets in the wave. And my sister-in-law's a pisshead, so
I've heard the wave's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, well, we'll see you in there.
Before, but...
Yeah, we'll be in there. Dressed up as pirates, like fucking balloon heads. But...
Well, when I went to see Pirates of the Caribbean last week, I did have someone ask me why I was going to see it, and I said, because we are.
Yeah, so have you got any news, Paul?
I've got a couple of bits. Firstly, we're going to be a little bit political, I think. The resignation of Bob Iger from Mr. Trump's integral party.
Very true, yeah. That was quite a big story the other day.
Because of the Paris Agreement no longer existing.
Well,
it's funny. It's funny how he's chose the Paris Agreement to finally resign from it. You know, everything else the fucking cretin has done in his 100 days in office. It's taken everyone this long to start jumping ship.
Craig, now, look, I know we were getting very political before the recording of the show tonight because we've got an election in the UK, but be careful with what you say about Mr. Trump, because we do know that Adam Sultanas is a big Trump supporter, big fan of his work. So, you know, there could be more of them out there that we just don't know about. But he's a dick. He's an absolute dick. Not even just because of that, but he's a dick. But I think it was quite a big statement by Mr. Iger. And also the Tesla guy.
Yes.
Did the same, didn't he? He followed suit.
Yep.
How many others have stayed in, though?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not sure how big that cabinet is. So, I can't. I don't know if that's a big political statement or quite a small one, really. But
what does it say about Hall of Presidents?
Well, didn't they already talk about the fact that he probably wasn't going to?
Wasn't going to talk.
Yeah,
he's just going to be in the back, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is
for him, to be honest.
That speaks absolute volumes, doesn't it? One of the highlights is seeing the current president for me. I'd love going in that attraction. You can get in the air conditioning, you can cool down, you can have 20 minutes, a bit of shut eye, but then you get to hear the speech from the current president. And if they just sack him right off, it speaks volumes, that mate.
It's something like George Bush Sr. was the last president that didn't talk.
Ah, right.
All three since then have spoken.
Yeah.
Have given their inaugural speech, haven't they?
Oh,
so Clinton, George Bush Sr., Jr., George W., and Obama have all given their inaugural speeches.
To be fair, though, wasn't his inaugural speech... I get confused. I can't remember if his inaugural speech was ripped off from Legally Blonde or Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
It's a bit of both, wasn't it?
Well, he's definitely done two speeches where they've both been rip-offs of those.
Yeah.
But I think the inauguration was Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
Wasn't it just like 20 tweets all just stuck together?
Yeah, he slagged off Saturday Night Live. He said he was going to build a wall. That was about
it. #build a wall.
It's going to be huge. Huge. Oh, he's a diamond, isn't he? Of course. I mean, the other reason for me calling him a dick this week, in fact, he could be our first dickhead of the week, is because of the terror attacks that we had well, not so much. We had Manchester, and he said a few things about that, but it was more the London attack that we had at the weekend, where he had accused the mayor of basically not doing a very good job, and kind of just kind of saying that it's something you've got to accept, which is words taken out of context, which is not unusual, and of course has now led to the mayor of London turning around and saying that he doesn't really want Donald Trump to come over at the moment. He's supposed to be coming over in October, so that's a bit of a political thing. Of course, Boris Johnson wants him to come over,
so he can see his twin.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, they're talking about getting Arnie and Danny DeVito back to make twins too. Just make it with Bojo and Trump.
This episode should be renamed Bell Ends After Dark.
No, the wrong people are hosting it.
We're knobheads.
There are some people that I think could host an episode of Knobheads After Dark, but we are not them. And in fact, no one affiliated with the After Dark network would be considered into that canon. Thank you very much. What was it? Was that it from you, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's a couple of bits I wanted to talk about. The first bit I wanted to mention was there was a Apple kickoff last night, wasn't there?
Yeah.
A developer conference, and the only bit that really kind of piqued my interest from a Disney point of view is for those people that have got watches.
Yeah.
Is that they've got? Sorry if you heard a bit of noise there. Is Toy Story faces?
Yeah, they look beautiful.
Yeah.
Fairly animated.
Yeah.
So Buzz comes running on and whips Woody out the screen and all that type of stuff. All them shenanigans are going on. They look great. I love them.
It's 10:06. Good night, pal.
Oh, is that your Mickey Mouse?
That's Mickey Mouse, yeah.
It's 10:06.
That's very good.
It's 10:06.
Is that what he does?
Yeah, he says, like, when the first time you tap him, he says a little something, so he's just said good night.
Oh.
Oh.
See, I remember back in the day, and it must have been, I think it was the year we went to, when Euro Disney first opened, and my brother was bought a watch, and it was a big 3D watch of Mickey's head, and what happened was with it took about 5 watch batteries, and you pressed his hands, and you go, the time is now 10:06, and his mouth would kind of go up and down as well. But the battery life was so poor, you'd have to replace the batteries every 6 months. And it was very expensive to do that, to be honest. So it didn't last very long in the household. But it was very cute. But I think the new animated watches are a bit better than that.
Yeah, the Disney must have done some sort of... I mean, they both own shares in each other, don't they? Apple and Disney, one way or another. Is it Apple-owned Disney shares?
Yep. Steve Jobs got shares when he sold Pixar.
Yeah, so... And there was a story a couple of months ago, or last month, wasn't there? The rumours of Apple looking at maybe buying Disney.
Yeah, and I don't like to think that rumour came about just because of them sticking out some new Toy Story characters and watches.
No, but they have got a relationship anyway, so you're not going to see any universe like E.T. coming up on a fucking watch face soon because it's shit.
Oh, Amanda would be devastated to hear that.
She won't.
E.T. wouldn't be able to phone home using his watch.
He wouldn't be able to get a signal if it was an Android watch.
He'd have to be on the free network to get roaming from home.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is a slightly bigger story. I don't know if anyone else had seen this, but Disneyland Paris, for the first time...
In forever?
No, it's not a Frozen thing. Not everything's Frozen. Have announced a ticketed New Year's Eve event.
Ooh.
Now, I've never been New Year's Eve to Disneyland Paris. But I've got friends that have, and the reason I haven't gone and done New Year's Eve at Disney Paris is because of said friends, because it's normally a bloody nightmare. It gets really, really rammed. And so you can look at this in a kind of cynical way or not, But by making it a ticketed event, that will restrict things slightly for that. Now, tickets go on sale next week, the 15th of June, at a price at €49.
Literally everything they do is cheap, innit?
Well, yeah, but see, like the thing is, it's. I mean,
you went all Jim Hill then.
I did. I love Jim.
Well,
Mickey Jim. So I mean, €49. I mean, how much was Mickey's Not So Scary this year? $70.
$70, yeah.
So I mean, it's not that far removed from that, really. But if you're staying on property, it's €29. That is a bargain, in my opinion. I think it's the same price for children as well.
How much is it to stay on property, though, for New Year's Eve?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Because I had a quick look, because I was really interested. For me to go to... I think I looked at...
a tent.
Yeah. I think I looked at Cheyenne and Santa Fe, because they're the cheapest, obviously, on property. And I've been looking to stay early next year, because I've got a deal on at the moment where you get 2 days and nights free if you book before the end of the year. So I had a look, and it was, I think, £600 for me to go to Sequoia Lodge for 4 nights, 5 days early next year for 2 adults, right? Kids go free under 7. For New Year's Eve, or that over that period, at Cheyenne and Santa Fe...
I'm going to say £2,000.
No. But it was about 1,150 or something, 1,200. And that was at a lower grade hotel than the Sequoia Lodge. So I didn't even bother to look at the Sequoia Lodge. I mean, that's Disney hotel price, like the Disneyland hotel price. Really, that kind of price for that time. So I was just like, no. So that's why they're doing it. This is clearly... You know, the price is there clearly because people will have spent a lot of money to go there anyway, probably expecting to not have to pay to get in for New Year's Eve.
Well, what was it last year? Was it nothing? Was it just your park tickets?
This is the first year. This is the first year.
So what did they do for New Year last year? Just shut at 9 o'clock?
No. Oh no! I mean, for New Year, they stay up until midnight. Have a big fireworks celebration at midnight, and then I think the park officially closes at 1.
So what they've done basically is a tax to make. Yeah, I'm all for it. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's the same as Mickey's Not So Scary or anything like that. So the park will close at 7. Walt Disney shows will open till midnight as well, actually. But Disneyland Park itself will close at 7. That's when the party will kick off for all those guests. They're doing Disney illuminations at 5 o'clock. So it means that people who aren't going to be there for the midnight celebrations will still get to see a fireworks show, which I think is a nice touch. So that's free for everybody. But to stay there for the actual event, that's what's happening. Now, what's also interesting about this is that there's going to be a special parade. Where they're going to have floats from previous parades. So it's going to be a bit like a greatest hits of parade floats from over the years.
They've got to use all those characters that they had at the 25th anniversary.
And
got to make the money with it.
You're not wrong there, because they've also said that there'll be characters, either rare characters or characters in a special outfit, special costumes for the night.
Could you not, and I'm being serious here now, could you not pull this off without staying in a hotel?
Well, you have to stay on Disney property.
I've not even stayed, because what's the first train out of Paris on New Year's Day?
Well, I don't know, because New Year's Day is a funny one, because even in the UK you can have... you can have trains not running properly.
Oh, our first train can still run on New Year's Day, 6 o'clock in the morning. Wow. Some years. Yeah,
it's all dependent, isn't it? But I don't think a train... Well, you won't get a direct train to, I think, the afternoon. You could probably get a train from Paris if they run at normal times, I think the first train from Paris leaves around 6.
Because you could literally get a train in, go to the event, sleep in the train station after the event.
It would be so bloody cold. And they probably wouldn't let you sleep in the train station, that's the other thing.
Go to the airport then, fly out.
Just go and sit in the Disneyland hotel reception.
Yeah.
That's true. But, I mean, it sounds, to me, it sounds really good. If there was a way around it, I mean, I haven't looked at partner hotels, I haven't looked at the Ibis or anything like that in Val d'Europe, so there might be ways of doing it, but then it's trying to get travel out there, because that will be bumped up as well. But I think it's good, and I'm not, yes, it's a kind of teaser for things to come, but I think if it's popular enough, then I can see this as being a thing they normally do. But the most important thing I think for me is, as I said, every year it gets so bloody busy. This is a way of trying to reduce those numbers, so it's probably better for everyone.
Do they do any other events there? Now, I know they used to do a Halloween event, and it was a very limited run.
They do Mickey's Not So Scary. They still do that at Halloween, but I think they only do it on Fridays and Saturdays. They used to do a Halloween event, which was a bit like a Universal event.
It's a bit scary, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the studios on Halloween itself, but I don't think they've done that the last few years. I think they've only done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, which was good. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't the same as what you get in Orlando.
But it could be, couldn't it?
I think the thing is, Halloween's still not a big enough thing in Europe. But it was good, and it was worth the money that we paid. But it just wasn't as big as what you get at Disney World, for example.
And when does Christmas start there? And do they do anything special for Christmas?
Yeah, they do. Christmas starts early November.
Are these ticketed events?
No.
They don't do like Mickey's Not So Wonderful Christmas or whatever. I'm sure it's not what it's called. They have like you can go and meet Father Christmas. They have snow blowing out on Main Street. They put all Christmas decorations up, massive tree. They light the tree every day. But they don't do a evening hard ticketed event.
Because if you think people from the UK fly to the North Pole, don't they, to meet Santa for the weekend? Surely there's a market there for Disneyland Paris.
Christmas actually lasts longer in Disneyland Paris as well, because I think they now do it until, I want to say, mid-January, because Russia has an extended Christmas, and so they extend Christmas now for Russian visitors.
I think they should, if they're doing that, if they're prepared to do a ticketed event for New Year's Eve, they should look at maybe generating some more income by doing ticketed events for Christmas and Halloween.
Well, you say that, Craig, and I forgot I had another story, actually, but that does lead me to another story, and that is that for the first time, not
and
in
forever,
but they announced this week that attendance for Disney parks was down.
I've seen that.
Massively.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? Have you seen this sort of this to and froing of this story, where travel agents like Dis Unplugged, whatever their thing is saying that the parks the hotel occupancy is down across the board, across Disney, but then when you see reporting from the parks, it's rammed.
Yeah, but that's because it's overall. So, I mean, the thing is, my friends were out in California 2 weeks ago when it was the graduation weekend.
Grad.
Yeah, the queue to get into the park, you've never seen anything like it that weekend. I've never seen a queue like it. It was ridiculous. Actually, no, I have seen a queue like it. The start of the London Marathon. That is what it looked like.
So how's park attendance down then? When are because I get told constantly there isn't a quiet period in the parks anymore.
It doesn't matter if there's a quiet period. I mean, the parks can still be busy, but the thing is, if, for example, you had 20 million visitors last year, and this year you've got 18.5 million visitors, doesn't mean the park's empty, but your attendance is down.
They've dropped below 70%, whatever it is, in Orlando, haven't they, for the first time?
Yep.
Market share.
Yep.
That's huge, apparently. That's huge. It's only 69%, isn't it? But it's still dropped below.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, Disneyland Paris, there's a reason why it's dropped there, for example, because of what's been happening in Paris in the last couple of years. So, it's not just Disneyland Paris that's been affected, but, even things like the Louvre has seen a drop in attendance after the terrorism attacks that took place. But I mean, I'm doing a book about Disneyland Paris at the moment, and I've been looking at the attendance over the years, and from about 2009 to 2014, the attendance at Disneyland Paris was around 13 to 14 million. That was the average.
Yeah.
And in 2015, that dropped down to 8.4. So, it does have a knock-on effect. And the thing is, like, Orlando doesn't have the terrorism issues that France has seen. And even though Disneyland Paris itself is really, really safe in terms of security, I mean, it's ridiculously safe. Disney parks in general are, but Disneyland Paris is you feel really safe when you arrive there. But it's getting there that's the problem for people, and when they see things on the news, it puts people off. It'll be really interesting to see this year what happens, because obviously this is the 30th anniversary. 25th anniversary, getting well ahead of myself. And so those years normally see a bump in attendance. But with everything that's gone on, it'll be interesting to see if that figure does go up. I hope it does. But
I honestly can't see it.
No.
I really don't think it will increase any. If anything, I think it will go down again.
In fact, sorry, I got that wrong. It was 9.8 million in 2015 and an 8.4 in 2016.
What is the capacity? What is the for the year? Is it 20 million? Where's the room to grow?
I don't think in Europe there is, to be honest. I think anywhere between 10 and 15 million visitors a year in Europe is a success.
When did Toy Story Land come online? I know it's only a small expansion, but it was still an expansion.
2011.
So that must have been a little bump.
You know what? I don't think it had a bump that year.
Crazy.
I don't think it had a bump that year. So unfortunately, I'm not going to spill all the secrets of my book. But I did do correlations between what they did in those years and what the attendance was like, and there doesn't seem to be much of a spike just because there's a new attraction, unless it's a big attraction. Like I think there might have been a bit of a bump when Ratatouille opened, if I remember rightly, but then that was a birthday year.
So how do they get themselves out of this quagmire that they're in?
Lift the park out of France and put it somewhere safe. No, I don't know. I mean, even today, as we record this show today, there was an incident at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And even though France is, I was having this row with someone the other day after the London terror attack, because this comment about how if you live in a major city, you have to be prepared for things like this to happen. And I said, although I can see why people think that's quite a dangerous statement, at the same time it's very true, because if people want to cause disruption, panic, pandemonium, they're not going to do it in a little town. They're going to do it in a major city. Whether that's Manchester, whether that's Birmingham, whether that's London, whether that's New York, whether that's San Francisco, whether that's LA, terrorists will always aim at a big hub of something. And France, unfortunately, has been hit with a few things over the last few years. And even though there's more police now, and there's better security around Paris in general, it does put people off from taking holidays. So all Disney can do is carry on. But it's a risky game they're playing because, we've already had this year the increase in the annual passes. Day tickets have gone up slightly as well. That's a way of bringing in more money. But there's also the other side of that, which is if you make the holiday more expensive, people, might potentially not come because then they're priced out. Because you're not talking about £5 going on. You could be looking at your holiday going up a couple of £100 over your duration of your trip.
When we go to Orlando, just to get there, you're talking $4,500 straight off the bat, just for 4 flights. But the money we've spent this year on this year's holiday would literally reduce you to tears if you thought about it. But we go all out and we push the boat out and we splash out and but then when you're going to Paris, you take your packed lunch, you fill your suitcase full of snacks so you don't have to buy anything when you're there. You seem to try and do Paris on a budget, whereas when you go into Orlando, the budget maybe goes out the window a little bit.
I think the difference between Paris and Orlando, and P does feel free to tell me to shut up, is Paris tends to have, because it's Europe, our portions are much smaller, and also the euro to pound is not particularly great. Now the dollar to pound at the moment is not particularly great either, but you do find when you go to America the portion sizes are ridiculous. Even McDonald's, if you ask for a large meal at McDonald's, you get the equivalent of a supersized meal in the UK. Everything is bigger. So
the cupcake example,
yeah.
In Walt Disney World, you buy a cupcake, you can cut that in half and feed 2 people with it.
Yeah.
With Disneyland Paris, we bought the Yoda cupcakes. Now, they were literally, off the top of my head, about €3 each.
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
And they are the size of a cupcake you would make if you'd went and bought a mix from Asda and made some cakes with your kids.
Yeah, it's the equivalent. It's the kind of cupcakes you buy from a Greggs. Other bakers are available.
It was tiny.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is it tiny or is it the right size? Because that's the thing. The thing is,
for €3, it was tiny.
No disrespect to Americans, but you're quite right, Craig. Those cakes and donuts and muffins over there would normally feed 2 people. Most people will have one of those each. But when we go to Orlando, we would have a large breakfast, a snack at lunchtime, and an evening meal. We wouldn't need 3 meals a day because the portions were always so big. We just didn't need to do it. Whilst Disneyland Paris, the portion sizes are more normal, so you're more inclined to have 2 or 3 meals a day.
I think the other thing as well is there's not a huge choice in Paris.
Yeah, definitely.
You go in most restaurants and they're selling exactly the same thing in every single one of them.
It's getting better, and I think Disneyland Paris's biggest problem is the seasonal restaurants.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't happen in Disney World. Unless it's closed for refurbishment, restaurants are open all year round. Whilst Disneyland Paris, there's a number of restaurants that will only open during peak seasons. Now again, doing research on this book, I've had to look at everything around. If you actually go and look at the menus of all the restaurants in the park, there's actually a lot of variety. But those restaurants that have more unique menus tend to be the seasonal ones. So when you do go, you see a lot of Angus burgers or chicken nuggets.
Our best meal was the Chez Remy restaurant, whatever that's called.
I may be possibly going next week.
It was absolutely stunning. Mm. It was the most expensive meal of the holiday, but the food was beautiful and the place was empty. And
also, the thing is, when we're talking about restaurants like that serve those things, we're not talking about restaurants like, as you say, Chez Remy. You're not talking about California Grill, Inventions, waltz, which are more fine dining experiences, like your likes of, we'd get the Grand Floridian or the California Grill in Florida or Ahana's or whatever. So if you go and look at the kind of quick service places, they are quite samey.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
There is actually quite a lot of variety in Disneyland Paris, but they don't do themselves any favours by having these things close. I get it saves money, but at the same time it leaves you with that impression there's actually not so much choice. So, double-edged sword. But, what do you think? I mean, this wasn't just a Disneyland Paris thing. We are also looking at this as a global thing, because attendance in all parks is down, whilst ticket prices have gone up.
Yeah, and that, I think, is the telling point, is that those prices have gone up so much now that people aren't, not so much, obviously, us UK folks, but people that live within driving distance of the parks aren't going as regularly. They aren't going, we'll go for a day to Animal Kingdom. Not when you're spending out $120 just to get in.
All right, so how much is a 2-week... So we get stupid prices in the UK. How much is a 2-week pass for Disney World at the moment, Craig? For all parks, for all 6 gates?
Yeah, approximately $260, I think, and then a child's is around $240.
So £260, equivalent of what, about $280, $290 for 2 weeks, 14 days access to each park.
Yeah,
or over $120 for 1 day entry. They've tried to make Disney, and they've said this before, haven't they? They've tried to make Disney a more middle class place middle class destination, because at the end of the day they figure that if they can get the middle and upper class market to go to Disney, they will spend more money.
I think they're following the model of the likes of Apple, what they set. You're buying a premium product. I think that's what they're trying to aim for. So it's priced accordingly. An iPhone isn't worth what it, when they build an iPhone and they strip it down, don't they? And I think it's iFixit, is it? Puts out how much all the components cost. And it's a couple of $100, if that. But you still pay $700 for that phone.
Yep.
It's the same with Disney. They're trying to... expense gives you the impression that you're buying a quality product.
And I get that, but there's a limit. There's a limit to what people are willing to spend.
Oh, someone's anal probe. Someone's anal probe's vibrating there.
That was my phone. Breaking news, my sister-in-law gave me my brother's MacBook charger by mistake. And so, I don't know why that's massive news, because she's got a MacBook as well. Maybe she just doesn't like to share. Anyway, it's my brother's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, bro. You're not getting your MacBook charger back to at least a weekend. Sorry.
Boom.
How
old is he?
Your wife's. He will be 29 years young this birthday. I bought him a Ren and Stimpy t-shirt for his birthday, which I think he appreciated. Didn't appreciate it as much as I would have done if it was the other way around. But
Happy, joy.
Exactly. So that was what I wanted to talk about. I think it'll be interesting to see if they divert back on that process in the next few years. But maybe they'll just carry on and hope it works. Who knows?
Maybe.
Mr. Dubs.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
You had some stuff that you wanted to talk about. I am very rudely going to have to leave for just a second, so please carry on without me. I need to go and get some drugs. Unfortunately, nothing very hard, but I'm getting bunged up and I need to go and sort myself out. Not feeling good. So carry on, and I'll jump back in at some point.
All right. Shall we continue our conversation, Craig, that we had off earlier about what Mr. Hill was saying.
Yeah, that was... Go and have a listen to his latest podcast episode, because it's really interesting. I only caught 15 minutes of it while I was in the kitchen. But basically, the Tower of Terror ride mechanics could be coming to Epcot.
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout has been such a huge hit.
And it has, yeah, it has.
And it has. 5 hours queue. And it's not because it's breaking down, because it's an already existing infrastructure that's been going for years. And it's not going to break down. So it's actually people in that queue that genuinely want to ride it.
Yeah, and it looks... the critics, the naysayers, they chain themselves to the Amandas of this world with E.T. and whatever, don't want it to end. They want it to stay the same. They want it to live on forever. If the Epcot thing couldn't happen, bring it into Hollywood Studios. I don't care, because that ride is something special. They've hit it. They've hit it out the park in 1 week, twice, with the Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, which is seeing similar wait times, and Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. They're both vying for basically the best Disney attraction ever.
Yeah, Jim says it's the best Disney ride he's been on for years.
Timothy said Guardians Mission Breakout's the best attraction he's been on in years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like it's... The plan is, I know that they some planning permission was granted not long ago for the land behind Ellen's Energy Adventure, which is the rumour as to where it's going to go in Florida.
To me, they've got to, from... I think Chris brought this up on the last episode, that's quite a big footprint, and it's potentially... They're looking at a roller coaster. I think they'd be doing the Guardians franchise a massive disservice if it was only going to be a roller coaster. It has to be Mission Breakout, and next to it needs to be a Guardians themed dining attraction. They need to really, it's going to have obviously a shop on the exit, and it's got to have somewhere to eat.
Yeah. My thing is, and it's a real pain that Universal probably do own this character, and that's Iron Man. Stark Expo would fit perfectly at Epcot, and I just can't see it happening, sadly.
I can see it happening. I think Disney have got to bite the bullet, and if you're listening to this, somebody, you are hitting billion-dollar movies out the theme park every single year now. $2 and $3 billion movies a year. Just throw Universal a bone. Just give them $200 million and say, keep what you've got. Keep it in Islands of Adventure, but we're giving you $200 million to allow us to use some of our own characters. I think it can happen.
You've got to hope there's a chance, haven't you?
Yeah.
But then, sticking with Guardians, the rumour is that it's now being fast-tracked for Paris.
Bring it on.
It has to go. Just that whole park could just really do with some oomph. We all know that.
That park is basically dog shit.
Yeah.
And in that dog shit, the Star Wars fireworks was a gleaming piece of sweet corn in that dog shit. That whole park is broken.
You know what? The biggest problem they did with studios was they chose Toy Story Land over Toy Story Mania.
Yeah.
Honestly believe that.
Yeah,
I get why they did it. They could get free rides for the price of one. But they put in free crap rides for the price of one great ride.
And there's still rumours that they've got planning permission to build it, isn't there?
If they want attendances to go up, they're going to have to spend the way out of this.
And this is what's going on. So we haven't talked about it because it's still going on at the moment. But at the moment, they're still running the scheme to try and buy the shares. So I have actually sold my shares, or I'm selling my shares. I don't know when the offer closes for me. I think it may have already closed, but they haven't actually officially sold them out yet. Disney need to buy 95% of the shares to be able to do a takeover, a formal takeover. At this time, they're at 87%, with I think about 10 days to go.
Oh, I need to get my shares sold then.
Now, the problem is that there are people campaigning against this to not sell their shares.
Why?
Because they think they're undervalued. Now the share. No, you know what? The share thing is very complicated because when Disneyland Paris first launched their shares back in the 80s, they basically encouraged people to put their life savings into buying Disney stock because of how much it was going to be worth. And I think when they first opened, shares were worth somewhere around the £15 mark, the equivalent to £15 now. And you know, those shares have at their lowest gone down to just under €1. Now I bought my shares about £5, I think, and I'll be selling my shares at €2. That's the offer that Disney have made to everyone, is €2 a share. They've been consolidated at times as well, so people have lost some shares. So a lot of people have really lost out on them, and people think the actual value at today's market rate is about €3.50, and that should have been the offer, but it wasn't. At the end of the day, Disney's offer was €2, and so Disney are, you know, pleading with people to sell their shares, but there are people that are sticking to their guns, at least at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think they may fall short. But if it falls short, there's every chance they might try it and turn around and say, you know, we're going to have to restructure again and consolidate your shares. And so your shares that are worth €2 today might be only worth €1. It's the risk you take. But I decided I've kept one share. Because at the end of the day, if Disney get to 95%, they have to buy out all the remaining shares anyway. So I figured, why not? But I sold 200 shares.
Wow.
221 shares I sold. I left myself with one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if they buy out the park, then I think we will see a lot of the things that have been rumoured. I mean, there was supposed to be a third gate by 2020, and I think that got moved to 2022.
And aren't they using the land for something else?
They're not using it for anything at the moment.
No, I think there's something temporary going in there, and I can't remember what it is. Is it something to do with their Olympic bid?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure I read something that they're going to use that land temporarily for something. And I'm sure it was for the Paris Olympic bid. Interesting.
But you know, a lot of people, I think, believe that Disney owning Disneyland Paris would be the best thing that could happen, because until they do, I can't see how it's gonna make money. Well,
We've already seen a load of projects being put on the back burner.
Yes, and we
like
saw
the replacement of the studio tour, which would have included Toy Story Mania, I believe.
Yes, quite possibly. I mean, there was supposed to be talk of things being updated, but I don't think anything's happened this year again.
No.
It's another rumour. I think at the moment the debt of Euro Disney is about 1.4 billion. Yeah. And if Disney buy it out, they will erase that debt.
Yeah, well, it's owed to Disney, isn't it?
But Craig, well, yeah, exactly. But Craig, the thing is, that's a Star Wars film.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's what the thing is. Like, 1.4 billion is a lot of money. It's not when you put it into perspective of where that money can come from. So, that would make Disneyland Paris debt-free. Stop taking pictures. You're in the nude or something.
Nudie pictures, yeah. Come and look 'em up, Willie.
It's the worst Dolan impression ever. But yeah, I just can't see Disneyland Paris improving until that happens. In terms of what the expectation is. I love the park. There are things that annoy me about the park, but overall I've got a lot of love for it. But I do honestly feel that unless it's in the right hands, it's going to have those same problems going forward, and it's not going to see an improvement. The 25th anniversary kickoff that you was at, P-Dubs, that to me was their calling card.
Yeah,
that is what we will do in charge of this park. I watched it back again the other day while I was writing about it, and it still blew me away. Still never seen anything like it in terms of birthday celebrations. Just thought it was phenomenal. And that's what I think, that's why I think they did it. God, did I just depress everyone or something?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, there's no doubt that park's not going to change in any way, shape, or form unless Disney get their hands on it.
They've got to spend $1 billion on that park just to bring it up to standard. It's dreadful.
It's not dreadful.
Oh, it's dreadful.
You're talking about studios?
Yeah, there's a couple of...
It's dreadful, okay.
There's a couple of exceptional rides in there, and the rest of it is just a hodgepodge mismatch of average.
The whole left side of that park could just completely be bulldozed.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Oh, I disagree.
Don't say Armageddon.
Oh no, that can be demolished. That can be the first to go.
No.
Rock and Roller Coaster?
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. Rock and Roller Coaster's great.
Stitch Live is great. Cine Magique was great, and now it's going to be the first Marvel attraction, allegedly.
Well, we've talked about what we'd turn some of them into, and Armageddon is the Millennium Falcon waiting to happen as an experience. Just turn that whole little thing into the Millennium Falcon.
Now, see, that expansion area could be Star Wars.
Yeah.
For all we know.
It could be.
I think, really, their best shot, even more than Star Wars, since they've got, they're turning tomorrow Discovery Land into Star Wars Land in a way.
Asterix.
Yeah, that'll go down well. is Marvel. Just have a Marvel park.
Yep.
A Marvel and Pixar park.
No, I think... Because, the thing is, the studios has a lot of Pixar attractions already.
The Monsters Inc. coaster's coming out of California, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Just fly it over, stick it in.
Maybe.
Crush's Coaster, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's still extremely popular as of right now.
I've only rode it once, and it took me breath away.
But even the Cars ride's good.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be anywhere near as fun as it is. And it looks bloody boring. You get on it, it's a great little ride. It's like teacups on steroids. It's brilliant.
And that's what's quite sad, that area just seems to... Again, it's just a mishmash. They just pushed everything together.
Yeah, and it's all well-themed, but there's no logic to it. It's just plonked.
Is it well-themed?
Yeah, if you look at the cars area, it's really well-themed. The whole cars bit, it's got like the little garage next to it. All the detailing is great.
And to just like cardboard cutouts?
No. No, go back and have a look. It's actually really well done. Everything's made. Crush's Coaster, I think, is a little bit of a disappointment because it looks like a soundstage, because it is. Aladdin is the worst themed attraction in that area.
Yeah, the ride itself isn't bad. It's just the way they themed it. It's nowhere near as good as the one in Orlando.
No. No.
Because they've made it out to be like you're on the set of Aladdin, rather than actually being in Agrabah. Which is ridiculous when the Agrabah's 30 yards away from the other part.
Yeah, but it's a studio, so I kind of understand it, but I still don't think it's done particularly well. It looks like it's been done on the cheap. The rest of the attractions, you've got to remember, Aladdin was an opening day attraction.
Yeah.
Whilst Cars, Crush, and everything else that came on that side is everything that's been built afterwards. But Aladdin was there from day one when it was done on the cheap, and they've just never done anything with it. They just left it there. Everything else you can see.
Imagine the park as it was like that without that bit there.
Well, I can. I went there 2 months after it first opened. I remember the hell of it.
More than an hour in there.
I think, when we first went there, we spent about 3 hours in the park. And that's because we queued up for 45 minutes to get on the tram. We watched Cinemagique, Animagique. I don't think we even went on Aladdin. And we went in the art studio, Armageddon. Didn't do Rock and Roller Coaster that time for some reason. Might have been down. We saw the stunt show. So I think we may have been in there for half a day, actually. It might have been more than 3 hours. It might have been 4 or 5 hours. But only because we had to queue up for things or wait for things to be there. It was never a full-day park when it first opened. And it's arguably a full-day park now.
Yeah.
You know? But it's never going to be. I mean, Hollywood Studios is barely a one-day park. Really.
For now.
If you go there, if you went there in the morning, you could do that whole park in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily.
You know, it's no Magic Kingdom.
The only two rides that you get at Hollywood Studios that you're going to be in a queue for is Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster.
Toy Story Mania.
Even that now is not that bad with the extra track.
Oh, because the other, yeah. I suppose like it's always really busy, but yeah, they've have another track, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Was there any other news that anyone wanted to bring to the table?
No, I think I'm all right liking that though, innit?
Okay.
Well, in that case, there was one thing I just wanted to bring up at the end.
You're not going to throw up, are you?
No, I've got some weird sore throaty cold thing. I don't feel sick.
Do you need some of my magic sauce?
Oh, if only you was here to give me that magic sauce, Craig. I just wanted to give people an update from last week. So, after we recorded the show last week, I recorded my own little soapbox type segment after the show, which I inserted back into the show in a clever bit of editing. I like to think of that as clever editing anyway. About a Facebook group called Disney World Junkies and a scam that was going on, which I think you listened to, Craig, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously that went out. I shared it with that group. That got some good feedback on it, so that was good. Shared it with some other Facebook groups. Most of them were quite receptive. The arseholes at WDW Kingdom Cast cried like little bitches. So go fuck yourselves. But everyone else was quite receptive, and we had a few people wanting to join the group to try and offer their support. And so the update this week is that, and I'd like to say it's down to my podcast bit, and because there's no one on here from the Facebook group, they can't argue with me, but a journalist has come forward as being interested in running a story about it based in the Orlando area. And the last 2 days, various people have been providing evidence, screenshots, conversations, speaking to reporters about their experiences, whatever. Basically just collating evidence. So it does look like there are some interested parties that want to actually do a bit of investigating about it. So hopefully it looks like something could actually happen, which would be great news.
And to commemorate all this, we're going to be selling T-shirts for $52 each. with $74 postage and packaging.
Plus Florida tax.
Yeah.
Because why the hell not?
Yeah, we may as well stick that in as well.
We like Florida. We charge Florida tax. That's how it works. In fact, talking about that, I am actually working on T-shirts at the moment. We've got someone that's waiting for one. I do apologise, but if it's any consolation, I haven't got one yet either. So we will be the first two to get them when they're finished.
And they're lucky that they've got pin badges.
They are lucky they've got pin badges, because some people on the show only got pin badges. And also thank you to Lewis Sutton, who's also contributed to the show via our Patreon. So thank you very much. It's much appreciated. He's already got a badge, but he'll be getting a few more in the post, so thank you very much. And when we are able to get everybody together, which seems to be quite hard at the moment, we will record our first Patreon only episode. We've got 4 of those specials coming out this year. Got the first topic already, so it looks like it's going to be a good one. I will keep you posted as to when that is going to be available. Yeah.
Go and like us on iTunes. Go and leave us a review, right? And if you take a screenshot of your review, email it to us, disafterdark@gmail.com. Your name will appear in the next episode's title.
And your name will also appear on Craig's right arse cheek, which is where he's going to put the name of any listener that gives us a good review on iTunes.
Yeah, now normally we honour the negative reviews because they get a show title named after them, like the Millwall Bushwhacker, yeah, and a couple of others. However, to get people to leave us some reviews, if you leave us a nice 5-star review, you will appear in the show notes. And the show title, you'll be honoured, you'll be searchable within iTunes, your name. You type your name up, that show will come up. But you've got to send me an email.
With your actual name.
With your screenshot of your review.
Yeah. Yeah, but you want their name so they can search for it on iTunes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, Craig's asked for 5-star reviews. We are more than happy to get 1-star reviews like the Millwall Bushwhacker did. But if you are going to do that, we've got no I personally got no problem with doing that. But if there's something you don't like about the show, let us know. I'd rather have dialogue and understand what's wrong so we can change it than to you to be a spineless little dick and not. So you don't have to leave us a 5-star review. You won't necessarily get the show title named after you, but if there's anything you don't like about the show, let us know, because we'll never be able to improve things if you don't tell us. So
as long as it's not any of the hosts that you don't like.
It's fine, to be honest. I'm a bit like Q on Tim Steve Dave. If people actually say they don't like me, I'll quit. It's not a problem. Only for like an episode, but I'll just bugger off. It's not, I know where I'm not wanted.
Just go and film an episode of the Impractical Jokers, you'll be fine, Nick, and then come back for the next one.
As long as it's the US Impractical Jokers, not the shitty UK version. Holy shit, that was terrible.
Going well, and download S.T.R.I.K.E. Go and search it, because this month's episode is a review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but we all recorded our reviews separately, and it's absolutely bloody brilliant, because you've got 3 totally different reviews you could not imagine. We've all watched the same film, but we've all got totally different opinions on it. It's actually a bloody good listen.
And we're enjoying listener questions as well.
Yeah, you can
answer a few.
My knowledge of Marvel is severely lacking.
We've actually had another question today on Twitter, so that'll be for the next episode.
Oh, like, why the fuck is Craig on the show? That'll be the question.
But don't ask us about Plastic Man and Mr. Ripley.
Why? Yeah. What's wrong with Plastic Man?
Because we have no idea about him.
Who the fuck's Plastic Man?
What do you mean, who's Plastic Man? Do people not know who Plastic Man is?
I vaguely remember him in the 80s.
He was a bit like Stretch Armstrong.
He was a bit like a shit Mr. Gadget, Inspector Gadget.
No, I'll tell you what, he was a cross between Stretch Armstrong and Mr. Fantastic.
Did he have a corny American accent?
Well, he had an American accent.
Did he talk like this?
I don't think any Americans ever talk like that.
Adam Sultana talks like this.
Yeah, so I thought he was on the podcast for a second. He talked about tickling my balls. No, sorry, tickling my sack on the last episode of Grim Grinning Gaze. I asked him what he meant by that, and he kind of told me, but I still don't, he was speaking American. It was very hard to actually... Americanese, that's actually what I said as well. I actually said Americanese. I love that video. But yeah, I think I thought it was an American football reference, but actually I think he was trying to just
tackle your ball sack.
So, which is always appreciated. Doesn't happen enough. So
other ball sacks are available.
Yep, there's 3 right now on this show. Yes. P-Dubs, is there anything you wanted to end the show with?
No, just that this time next week I'll be in Paris, so if anybody else is around, come and find me. You might get a badge.
And the difference between me and P-Dubs going out there is I have a load of people who hate me for no reason except for being friends with somebody who wouldn't come up and approach me, but those people will actually like Paul, so they probably will get a badge, which is nice. So there's that to look forward to. You said you might go Chez Remy.
Yep.
What other plans have you got, other than, of course, riding the 2 new Star Wars attractions?
Yeah. We're gonna try Plaza Gardens for breakfast, the new character breakfast.
Oh yeah, cool.
We're gonna try and do that on the first full day we're there.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we've got no real major plans. Sam wants to meet Ariel. Go figure.
That might be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Bloody Princess Pavilion. God knows what time I'm going to.
Ariel's not there very often.
No, I know. I've seen her a couple of times recently, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. He's now tall enough to get on some of the rides as well, some of the bigger rides.
Excellent.
So he's going to get his first Star Tours. He's big enough to go on now, so he'll get his first blast on the Speeder 1000. Big Thunder Mountain is on the list for him. So yeah, it's going to be a trip of firsts, I think, for the little one.
No, that's awesome. That's always the best ones. For my daughter's birthday the other week, she got a Princess Leia costume. She still doesn't know who Princess Leia is, but the original Princess Leia costume, complete with wig with Cinnabons stuck to the side of it. But she also got from one of our friends, my mate Whitey, who was on the podcast about Guardians a few weeks ago. He booked her a Death Trooper costume from Rogue One, which she loves. So I think next time that we go out there, hopefully they'll still fit her, and she'll be having a bit of a Star Wars time when she's out there. She doesn't like the films very much, but she always gets excited when she sees a Star Wars advert. So that's enough of a proud dad moment for me for now. Anyway, I can deal with that. So is Sam going to be going in any costumes next week, or?
He's got a couple of Marvel ones. I'm not sure whether they fit him anymore. They should do. He wore his Captain America one a couple of weeks ago when we went to a convention here in Nottingham. He wore it. So he's got an Ant-Man one as well.
Now, interesting question, right? You mentioned about him wanting to go and see Ariel, and this is because of something that I saw on a group the other day. If Sam went to Asda or somewhere like that where they had like a range of costumes, and he decided he wanted an Ariel costume, would you let him have that? Would you let him wear that? Yes,
because he tends to wear princess costumes at nursery.
Yeah. Okay.
He wears Elsa costume at nursery, so I don't see why not.
No, I'd have no problem if my son wanted to do that. in the same way, I've got no problem with my daughter wearing a Death Trooper costume, to be honest. But it seemed to kind of like provide a few issues. One of the comments actually that was said about when I talked about this offline with actual people was our friends, sort of my nephew was playing with a Barbie doll or something. He's only like 1 and a bit. He's playing with a Barbie doll, not properly, just walking around with it. And he was like, "Oh yeah," I was getting a bit concerned about it. And I was like, "It's a 1-year-old kid. Like, even if he was 5 or 6, he was walking around with a Barbie doll. I don't think it'd bother me that much."
No.
Like,
Sam's got this whole thing that he watches toy videos on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And he loves the Anna and Elsa ones.
Is this with the toys, or is this like the animated stuff where they
No,
dance
the toys.
and stuff? Oh, okay.
Like kids playing with their toys.
Hmm.
And making voices. He loves watching them, so...
We went through a phase of Baby Big Mouth with the Kinder Egg reveals.
Oh yeah, this is the thing we watch. We watch programs called Tic Tac Toys.
Craig, I'd see you what. Just be glad you don't have any kids, like young kids like me and P-Dubs have got now, because the stuff you find on YouTube that they find and somehow watch is shocking, absolutely shocking. So yeah, just be glad you don't know what Baby Big Mouth is, and don't try and find it.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it'll just rot your brain, mate. Absolutely rot your brain. Anyway, that's enough of that. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back, I imagine, next week with the unofficial weekly Disney podcast that is Dis After Dark. Is there going to be a UUOP in between? I know we've just recorded one, haven't we? So that's going to go out this week, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's there.
I'll have to do a pop soon as well. It's almost time for a pop.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all in about a week's time.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm not.
And neither am I.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you would like to support Dis After Dark and the other After Dark Network podcasts, please visit our website at www.patreon.com/Dis After Dark. That's patreon.com/Dis After Dark. Thank you. This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.